One final story this morning, kids, and I think you'll enjoy this. In Boston, I believe the '70s, three huge casino-like buildings were built in the Boston area. One in Saugus, one in Framingham, and one in Braintree. They were called the Chateau de Ville. They still exist. They were originally built as a casino-like affair in hopes at that time that gambling would become legal in Massachusetts. They could open up all these slot machines and so forth, which did not happen at that time. But it was a dinner theater. They were designed as a dinner theater, and they would hire a band to play shows. And all sorts of interesting shows came through. And the first show and the Braintree show, I believe, was 80 days around the world, 40 days, around the world in 80 days. That's it, around the world in 80 days. And they hired Milton Rosenstock to do this show. This is the first show, the opening show. And Milton Rosenstock was one of those great, great Broadway conductors. I believe he did a lot of the original Bernstein shows. And I have another great Rosenstock story for you. I'll tell you at some time. But at any rate, he opened the conducting. And the guy who was hired to play lead woodwind, lead alto, lead clarinet, and so forth, was Teddy Kasher. Teddy Kasher is a wonderful, wonderful musician of long time standing and legendary status in Boston. A great player, great player. But he has a very famous habit of his of not showing up more than a second or two before the downbeat of the rehearsal, which just makes everybody very nervous and so forth. And Teddy was the 9 o'clock rehearsal time rolled around, and we're all in our seats ready to play, and no Teddy Kasher. And Milt Rosenstock standing up there looking at that empty seat and getting madder and madder. And about 30 seconds before the downbeat, Teddy comes walking in, calmly sits down in the chair, takes all of his instruments together, and at 9 o'clock exactly, he's ready to go. And he looks up and he sees Milt Rosenstock looking at him. And Teddy says to him, "Oh, they didn't tell you about me?" And Rosenstock laughed, and the whole band laughed, and we got on with the show, you know. And Teddy Kasher, I need to tell you, is a remarkably resilient musician and is still playing great jazz. He and Kenny Wenzel, another legendary player from around Boston, and Gene Romer, a drummer, play regularly at a place in Plymouth called the Martinis. They play every Tuesday night. They play real jazz, the original kind of improv jazz. They have no music in front of them. Someone will suggest a melody, and they'll take that melody and play it all together. Then everyone will take turns playing it and improvising. And Kenny Wenzel, of course, is the very famous trombone player, flute player, clarinet player, keyboard player. Kenny can play everything. But I'll never forget the look of the Milt Rosenstock's face. My next story will be a Milt Rosenstock story.